The boot caught Dmitry Volkov square in the ribs, once, twice, 3 times. Each impact made a sound like a baseball bat hitting wet leather. The billionaire's designer briefcase skittered across cracked asphalt, forgotten. Blood poured from his split eyebrow, pooling on concrete. "Empty your pockets." The tall one, wiry and vicious, yanked at Dmitry's navy suit jacket while his partner, thick-necked Marcus, built like a bulldozer, delivered another kick to the kidneys. Dmitry tried to speak. Only gurgling sounds came out. His silver hair was matted dark red. His hands, which signed million-dollar contracts yesterday, now trembled uselessly against pavement. Marcus raised his boot again, aimed at Dmitry's skull this time. The killing blow. "Get away from him. Now." Both men froze and whipped their heads toward the side street. What they saw made them explode into laughter that echoed off warehouse walls. A maid. Black dress, white apron, that little cap. Holding a basketball like it was a weapon. Her shopping bag lay at her feet. The wiry one grinned. "Yo, Marcus, you seeing this?" "The hell?" Marcus wiped knuckles on his leather jacket. "Lady, the mansion's that way. Go clean some toilets." "She brought a ball." The wiry one doubled over. "What you gonna do, challenge us to a pickup game?" But her eyes burned with something they'd never seen before. Not fear. Fury. Amelia Oching planted her feet, cocked the ball at her hip. Thunder rumbled. Power lines swayed overhead. "Last warning," she said, voice like steel. "Walk away." Marcus cracked his neck and started toward her, laughing. Biggest mistake of his life. What these thugs didn't know, 10 years ago in Nairobi, this woman was lightning. And lightning doesn't ask permission to strike. Who is this maid? Why does she think a basketball can stop 2 killers? I hope you've hooked already. Do me a favor. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and share to someone who loves stories like this. 45 minutes earlier, Dmitry Volkov made the choice that would nearly kill him. His driver stood by the Mercedes, keys ready. The charity gala was 15 blocks east through the industrial district. Traffic would be a nightmare. "I'll walk," Dmitry said. "Sir, that neighborhood." One look from Dmitry ended the discussion. He'd clawed his way up from nothing on these streets 30 years ago. Built an empire from dirt and determination. Now some chauffeur thought he needed protection? The buildings shifted as he moved east. Glass towers gave way to brick warehouses. Graffiti replaced marble. His $1,000 shoes clicked against broken asphalt, while storm clouds rolled in overhead. Footsteps echoed behind him. Dmitry kept his pace steady. Let them see the suit, the briefcase, the confidence. Let them remember who owned this city. 2 men stepped from an alley. Leather jackets. Empty stairs. "That's a nice briefcase. Gentlemen." The fist came faster than thought. His stomach folded. Before he could process the pain, hands grabbed his collar, and a second blow cracked his jaw. His briefcase clattered away. His phone screen spiderwebbed against concrete. He swung back, a boardroom negotiator's idea of a punch. It glanced off leather and did nothing. They threw him down like trash. His spine hit pavement. His skull bounced off asphalt. Money didn't matter here. Power was a joke. He was prey, and the predators were just getting started. Nobody was coming. Nobody even knew where he was. Amelia Oching woke at 5:30 like always. Black dress, white apron, that cap. The uniform that made her invisible. She moved through Dmitry's mansion like a ghost. Coffee brewing by 6. Breakfast under a silver dome by 6:30. He'd eat while scrolling his phone, never looking up. Never saying thank you. In her small room off the kitchen, she kept one thing from her old life, a basketball. Worn leather, faded orange. 10 years ago in Nairobi, everyone knew her name. Amelia Lightning Oching. Point guard. Street legend. She'd thread passes through defenders like they were standing still, drained shots from angles that shouldn't exist. Coaches said she had a real shot at going professional. Then her father got sick. Medical bills swallowed everything. She made the choice: take domestic work abroad, send money home. Just for a year, she told herself. That was 7 years ago. Today she had errands. Dmitri left his list on the counter in that sharp handwriting. Groceries. Dry cleaning. A stop at the community center to drop off equipment donations. She grabbed the basketball from her closet. Might as well donate it. Let some kid use it who still had dreams left. She tucked it under her arm, picked up her shopping bag, and headed into the afternoon heat. The storm clouds were already gathering. And in 15 minutes she'd have to choose between staying invisible or becoming lightning one more time. Amelia rounded the corner onto the industrial street, shopping bag in one hand, basketball under her other arm. The community center was 3 blocks away. Storm clouds churned overhead, turning the afternoon gray. She should have taken the main road. That's when she heard it. The sickening thud of fists on flesh. The grunt of pain. Men laughing. She froze at the mouth of the alley. 2 men in leather jackets circled someone on the ground. Blood pooled on cracked asphalt. The victim's silver hair caught her attention first. Then his navy suit, expensive, torn. Her employer. Dmitri Volkov. Keep walking. The thought came instantly, survival instinct screaming. This isn't your problem. You're nobody. You're invisible. Walk away and you stay safe. Get involved and you become the next victim. These men will hurt you. Kill you, maybe. You have a mother back home who needs the money you send. The tall one kicked Dmitri in the ribs. Once. Twice. The sound made her stomach turn. Marcus raised his boot, aimed at Dmitri's skull. Something inside Amelia broke. Maybe it was years of swallowed rage finally finding a target. Maybe it was knowing that watching a man die and doing nothing would kill whatever was left of who she used to be. Maybe she was just tired of being invisible. Her shopping bag hit the ground. She stepped forward, basketball cocked at her hip. Every muscle remembered what it felt like to compete, to fight, to refuse to back down. Get away from him, she said. Now. They turned. They saw the uniform. They saw the ball. And they made the fatal mistake of laughing. If you're hooked on this story and want more incredible real-life tales of courage and redemption, hit that subscribe button right now. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. The wiry one moved first. You stupid! He charged, closing 15 feet in seconds, fist already cocked back. Amelia's body remembered everything her mind had tried to forget. 10,000 hours on Nairobi courts. 10,000 passes threaded through defenders. 10,000 shots launched from impossible angles. Her hips rotated first, coiling like a spring. Weight shifted to her back foot. The basketball rose from her hip to her shoulder in one fluid motion, fingers spread across worn leather, finding grooves she'd memorized years ago. Her front foot planted, stopping her momentum dead. Then the release. Her wrist snapped forward with 15 years of precision. The ball left her fingertips spinning backward, cutting through humid air like a missile locked on target. The wiry thief was still laughing when the basketball caught him square in the temple at 60 miles per hour. The sound was like a watermelon hitting pavement. His head snapped sideways. His legs went liquid. He crumpled to the asphalt face first, unconscious before he hit the ground. Silence. Complete silence except for thunder overhead. Marcus stood frozen. His eyes went from his partner's body to Amelia, then back again. The maid, the joke, the costume, had just dropped a full-grown man with a basketball. What the? His voice came out strangled. Amelia didn't answer. Just walked forward, bent down, picked up her basketball. Her fingers found the leather, that familiar weight settling into her palm. She straightened up. Faced Marcus. Feet planted. Weight balanced. Hips loaded. The ball cocked at her hip. Her eyes met his. Not a maid. Not furniture. A warrior who'd been hiding. Your turn, she said quietly. Or you can run. Marcus's hands started shaking. Then his face twisted with rage. He was twice her size. She was just some woman in a dress. He roared and charged. Marcus roared and charged like a bull, all 240 pounds of muscle and rage. No finesse. Just violence. Amelia's street ball instincts took over, the same instincts that made her untouchable on Nairobi courts. She read his charge instantly. Too committed. Too angry. Too predictable. She faked the bounce pass, dropping the ball toward the pavement. Marcus's eyes followed it down, his hands reaching. Amateur mistake. The ball hit asphalt and rocketed back up into her waiting palm. By the time his brain registered the fake, she was already pivoting, already launching. The basketball left her hands like a fastball. Not aimed at his head this time, aimed lower. It caught Marcus square in the throat at full velocity. The sound he made was airless, desperate. His charge stopped dead. Both hands flew to his neck, eyes bulging, face turning purple. He staggered sideways, crashed into the brick wall, then slid down to his knees, gasping and wheezing. Amelia caught the rebound. She stood between both fallen men and Dimitri's broken body, the ball cocked at her hip again. Thunder cracked overhead. Her uniform was soaked with sweat, but her hands were steady. Get up and run, she said, voice like iron. Now. Or the next one breaks bone. The wiry one groaned, consciousness returning. He saw his partner gasping on the ground. He saw the maid standing over them with that basketball raised like a hammer. He scrambled to his feet and ran, stumbling over his own legs. Marcus managed to stand, still clutching his throat, still wheezing. He looked at Amelia one last time, really seeing her now, then turned and fled after his partner. Amelia watched until they disappeared around the corner. Then the adrenaline drained out of her all at once. Her legs nearly buckled. The basketball slipped from her fingers and bounced away. She dropped to her knees beside Dimitri. His face was destroyed. She pressed shaking fingers to his neck, searching for a pulse. There. Weak, but there. She pulled out her phone with trembling hands. I need an ambulance, she said. A man's been beaten. He's alive. Barely. If this story is giving you chills right now, smash that like button. It helps more people discover these powerful stories of everyday heroes who change everything in one moment. Dimitri woke to fluorescent lights and the steady beep of monitors. His entire body was fire. His ribs screamed with every breath. His face felt like raw meat. Easy, Mr. Volkov. A nurse appeared, adjusting his floor. You're in St. Mary's. You've been out for 6 hours. Broken ribs, concussion, internal bruising. You're lucky to be alive. Lucky. The word tasted like ash. His eyes adjusted to the harsh light. There, in the corner, sat a figure in a plastic chair. Black dress. White apron. Bloodstains across the fabric. His maid. She looked exhausted, her head leaning against the wall, eyes closed. Her hands still had dried blood under the fingernails. She hasn't left, the nurse whispered. Police want her statement. She's been waiting for you to wake up. The nurse left. Dimitri stared at the woman who'd saved his life. How long had she worked for him? 2 years? 3? You're awake. Her eyes opened. Dark. Tired. But something burned in them still. Dimitri's throat was dry. His voice came out cracked. What's your name? She blinked, surprised. You don't know my name? Shame crawled through him worse than the pain. Tell me. Your full name. Amelia Aching. Amelia. He repeated it like he was learning a new language. Why didn't you run? Those men would have killed you. She was quiet for a long moment, looking at her blood-stained hands. Because no one deserves to die alone in the street, she finally said, voice soft but steady. Something inside Dmitry Volkov broke. Not his ribs this time. Something deeper. Something that had been calcified for 30 years, ever since he decided that power and money were all that mattered. This woman, this invisible woman he'd never bothered to see, had risked everything for him when his wealth and connections meant nothing. Thank you, he whispered. 2 words he couldn't remember the last time he'd said and meant. But one question kept burning in his mind as he drifted back to sleep. How does a maid know how to fight like that? Dmitry came home 2 weeks later, moving like an old man. Every step hurt. Every breath reminded him how close he'd come to dying on dirty asphalt. The doctors said 6 weeks minimum recovery. His assistant tried to set up a home office. He told her no. For the first time in 30 years, work could wait. He spent his days on the couch, watching. Amelia moved through his mansion the same way she always had, silent, efficient, invisible. But now he saw her. Really saw her. How she straightened books on his shelf without ever commenting on titles she must have read while dusting. How she prepared meals he never thanked her for and never once showed frustration when he left them half-eaten. How she existed in his space without taking up space, like she'd learned to fold herself into nothing. It ate at him. He started asking questions. Where was she from? Kenya. How long had she been in the country? 7 years. Did she have family? A mother in Nairobi. The conversations were awkward, stilted. Decades of employer-employee distance couldn't be erased overnight. But Dmitry Volkov hadn't built an empire by accepting surface answers. One night, while Amelia was shopping, he went into her room. He'd never been inside before. It was smaller than his walk-in closet. Immaculately clean. A single bed. A small dresser. And on top of the dresser, a photograph. A younger Amelia in a basketball jersey, mid-jump shot, face alight with joy he'd never seen in his house. He picked up the photo, studied it. Then he saw the basketball in her closet, worn leather, faded orange, clearly loved. He made calls. Found contacts in Kenya. What he discovered made his stomach turn. Amelia, lightning, Achin. Street ball legend. The point guard everyone said was going professional. Until 7 years ago, when she vanished from the courts. Medical bills. A sick father. Dreams sacrificed so her family could survive. She'd saved his life with a skill she'd buried to keep him comfortable. And he never once asked what she'd given up. That night, when Amelia returned, Dmitry was waiting in the kitchen. The photos sat on the counter between them. Her face went pale when she saw it. Drop a comment below. Would you have given up your dreams to save your family? Or would you have found another way? I'm curious what you think. Amelia froze when she saw the photograph. Her younger self, suspended mid-jump shot, face full of a joy that seemed to belong to someone else entirely. She looked from the photo to Dmitry, then back again. You went through my things. Her voice was flat, carefully controlled. I did. Dmitry didn't apologize. I needed to know who saved my life. You already knew. The maid. No. He pushed the photo toward her. Amelia Lightning Achin. Point guard. Semi-professional prospect. The best streetball player in Nairobi before you disappeared 7 years ago. She picked up the photograph, fingers trembling slightly. That person doesn't exist anymore. Why not? Because life doesn't care about dreams when your father's dying and the medical bills are drowning your family. She set the photo down harder than necessary. I made my choice. I survived. That's enough. Is it? Dmitry stood, wincing as his ribs protested. I want to make you an offer. Training. Coaches. Whatever you need for a comeback. I'll fund it all. Amelia laughed, but there was no humor in it. This is guilt. Rich man's guilt. You think writing a check fixes? You're right. His honesty stopped her mid-sentence. It is guilt. But it's more than that. You gave me a second chance at life, Amelia. Let me give you one too. Silence stretched between them. Outside, storm clouds gathered again, like they had that day in the street. Why? She finally asked. Why do you care? Because for 30 years, I'd built an empire and thought that made me powerful. Then I lay bleeding on asphalt and realized my empire meant nothing. But you, his voice cracked slightly, you risked everything with nothing to gain. You showed me what real power looks like. Amelia studied his face, searching for the lie, the angle, the trap. She found only sincerity, raw and uncomfortable, from a man who probably hadn't been sincere in decades. I'm 28, she said quietly. Most players are washed up by now. Most players can't take down two grown men with a basketball. But doubt crept into her voice. What if I'm not good enough anymore? What if 7 years was too long? What if I fail? Then you fail, Dmitri said simply. But at least you'll know. At least you won't spend the rest of your life wondering what if. She looked at the photograph again. That girl in mid-flight, fearless, alive. Could she be her again? 6 months later, Amelia stood at center court of the Metropolitan Sports Complex, surrounded by 20 other women who'd trained their entire lives for this moment. Professional team tryouts. Scouts in the stands with clipboards. Coaches watching every movement with surgical precision. Her legs felt like water. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. In the stands, Dmitri sat alone in Section C, no assistants, no phone, no empire demanding his attention. Just a man who'd learned that showing up mattered more than showing off. He caught her eye and nodded once. Simple. Present. The coach blew the whistle. Shooting drill. 3 attempts. Make it count. Amelia stepped to the three-point line. The ball felt impossibly heavy in her hands. Around her, women sank shots with machine-like efficiency. Swish. 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 These were players who never stopped training, never buried their dreams for 7 years, never spent their 20s invisible. What if I'm not enough? The thought came like ice water through her veins. What if I'm too old, too rusty, too late? What if I fail in front of everyone? Dmitri, the coaches, the scouts who came to watch Lightning Aching's impossible comeback. She could walk away right now. Protect herself from the humiliation. Go back to being safe, being small, being invisible. Then she remembered. That street. That moment. 2 killers and a basketball and a choice that should have gotten her killed. She'd thrown anyway. Not because she knew she'd succeed, because staying silent, staying invisible, would have killed something inside her worse than any physical death. Amelia looked at the hoop. Bent her knees. Felt her hips rotate, her wrist cock back, muscle memory flooding through her like coming home. The ball left her hands. Not just a shot. A declaration. I am here. I am seen. I choose to be seen. The gymnasium went silent. The ball arced through fluorescent light, spinning backward, perfect rotation. Swish. Thunder rumbled outside. But this time, Amelia was the storm. In the stands, Dmitri stood and clapped. Not for the shot. For the courage to throw it. And 2 lives, forever changed by one moment in a blood-stained street, came full circle. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear that it's never too late to reclaim who you are. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that prove courage doesn't wear a cape, sometimes it wears an apron.